Natural gas powers 95% of Singapore's electricity, yet the country is aiming to slash emissions by 2035. The challenge now is decarbonizing gas while keeping the lights on. Violet Chen from the Energy Market Authority joins us to explore what's next. So, Violet, what sustainable energy solutions are needed for Singapore's net zero goals?
I would say that Singapore has started on this very complex and long-term journey called the Singapore energy transition. To be on this transition is like managing a very delicate balancing act. So on one hand, we have increasing energy demand that we need to produce more energy for. On the other hand, we have to actually keep in mind with our decarbonization goal and to reach net zero by 2050. This is not easy because at the same time, we have to work on the cost effectiveness of it, as well as to manage grid resilience and energy security. So, and at the same time, we also have constraints faced by Singapore, such as in land and having limited renewable energy options. This is why we must always keep all our energy options open and explore technologies that's available. So first, domestic solar will be quite a clear choice for us because we are now one of the world's most dense solar cities. We have reached our target of 1.5 gigawatt peak, and we are on track to achieving our target of 2 gigawatt peak by 2030. However, because of land constraints, solar energy will still comprise around 10% of Singapore's electricity supply in 2050. And we're also seeking to import around 6 gigawatt of low carbon electricity for 2035. To achieve this, we are collaborating with our partners in the region to facilitate cross-border electricity trade. We are also keeping all options open for low carbon alternatives. So we are actually studying the feasibility of nascent technologies such as hydrogen, advanced nuclear energy technologies, and carbon capture. But these efforts will take time. So while we explore these various options for the Singapore energy transition, natural gas will continue to provide us with reliable power supply. We are looking at how to increase its energy efficiency, as well as to work with the industry to ensure they are hydrogen ready and to be viable for energy transition.
Can you expound on that? How can businesses and governments collaborate on these solutions?
Actually, the government really looks forward to partnering our businesses to co-create solutions. We will want to work with them to ensure a viable regulatory framework that can actually facilitate new business models. So there are a couple ways to do this. First, for nascent low carbon technologies, we do have grants in place to work with the industry to develop these new solutions. An example is the power sector carbon capture and storage grant call, which we have launched last year. And secondly, we do launch regulatory sandboxes to work with our industry partners to see how we can streamline regulatory barriers to actually facilitate new business models. This is really because we recognize that energy projects, they may have a high initial upfront investment cost. There may be uncertainties in rolling out new technologies in our market, and new entrants may also be less familiar with our electricity market rules. So by working with us on the regulatory sandbox, they can actually test their business models, test their technologies in a safe environment, time-bound to demonstrate the benefits. Once it's established that there's commercial viability for deployment, we're very happy to work with them to see how we can make the enhancements as part of regular program and integrate the solutions into our electricity market.
On best practices, which markets that have adopted net zero strategies is Singapore seeking to emulate? And are there any specific policies, technologies, or frameworks that it wants to adopt?
Looking ahead, if our electricity imports and solar targets are achieved, we'll be looking at a very high share of renewable and intermittent renewable energy sources in our energy mix by 2035. So what we have learned from other countries is that we need to ensure grid resilience and power stability even as we transit to a different energy mix from today. What this means is that we need to put in place future grid capabilities that can help us to manage the challenges. An example is to look at how we can integrate battery energy storage into the system. Battery energy storage systems are like large batteries that can charge and discharge very quickly in a matter of seconds to provide power to the energy system. Let's say if there's a sudden fall in solar production, we can activate batteries very quickly to better manage the demand and supply situation. A solution that we are looking at is demand response program. This is where consumers can reduce their energy consumption during times of system need and be rewarded with financial incentives in return. This will better balance demand and supply in the system and ensure resilience.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights, Violet.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Once again, that was Violet Chen, Director for Energy Capabilities Development Department at Energy Market Authority. For more news, visit asian-power.com.